And here we are. National champs, man. It's a good feeling to it, you know what I'm saying? Lincoln going crazy. Probably had a massive parade in Omaha too. The whole state just going nuts. 20 plus years in the making, finally another championship added to our belt. So right here, y'all, is the job security for all the head coaches here throughout the league. And those considered in the hot seat are most likely going to get fired after this season. So we'll start with some of the more notable ones, I guess. Don't really care about KU like that. We got Iowa. Oh, Kirk Ferentz is in the hot seat. Now remember, I told y'all they went 4-8. They did not have a good season. So we'll see if they hold on to him. But I mean, he's been there a long time, so maybe they'll show him a little bit of love for the loyalty. PJ Fleck is also in the hot seat after kind of a lackluster year, I think. I don't know what they went. They went 4-8 as well. I remember we beat them earlier in the season. James Franklin over at Penn State is also in the hot seat. I think they had a decent year. Okay, never mind. 5-7 is not decent, especially for Penn State standard. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see if they hold on to him or let him go. Manny Diaz is at a low job security. You might look at Miami to get rid of him and get someone else brought in, just like how they did in real life, depending on who gets fired. Probably bring in like James Franklin or something if both those teams get rid of their coaches. All right, so this is just something fun we can look at. Some of the new records that we broke individually here throughout the season. So Logan Smothers getting the highest of all time, I think, QB rating, beating out Mac Jones with good low QB rating, so that's cool. Jack Miller breaking the school record for passing touchdowns in a season, beating out Zach Taylor. Shout out to Zach Taylor, by the way, leading the Bengals to the Super Bowl as a head coach. That's really dope to see, rooting for him as well. But yeah, he beat him up by one touchdown, which is crazy too, because Jack was, I wouldn't say benched, but he was second string for half the season, so that's pretty nuts. And of course, Xavier Betts, receptions in a season, breaking that. Marlon Lucky, haven't heard that name in a long time, but that was a good player. And of course, he had to break the school receiving yards in a season, beating out Stanley Morgan Jr.'s record back in 2018. Okay, so looking at the coaching changes throughout the offseason, PJ Fleck did get fired, and looks like they hired Pete Golding. That name sounds familiar, but I don't know who that is exactly. Gotcha, he is the defensive coordinator over at Bama, so that's cool. He got a little head coaching gig now. And Penn State getting rid of James Franklin, and they hired Eric Chenander, our defensive coordinator. That is ridiculous. I'll be real with you. I don't know how realistic that is, but hey, shout out to Chenander for getting that promotion. Honestly, he's a great defensive coordinator for us. So him getting a shot at the next level, we'll see what he can do, and we'll definitely keep an eye on him for sure. Kirk Ferentz actually retired from coaching. And they brought in Dana Holgorsen, who is currently right now, he's the head football coach at the University of Houston. So he got a little promotion over to Iowa. So we'll see if Iowa can stop having 4-8 seasons now. All right, and here are the players leaving our team. So if you look here, Cam Jurgens and Garrett Nelson are both listed as juniors. I was able to convince them to stay because they wanted to declare for the pro draft early. Now I know in real life now Cam Jurgens he's already declared for the draft, so he won't even be on the team at all. But he's a 91 overall. He'll only get better. So for the sake of our performance, I'm just gonna say, hey, you can come back for another year. It's all good. And then Garrett Nelson as well. I convinced him to stay for another year for his senior year. And then we got Omar Manning, senior. He's graduating and declaring for the draft. He's projected to go in the first round. So, hey, shout out to Omar. That's dope to see. Will Honus, he's projected in the 7th round, as well as Oliver Martin. Oliver Martin was a solid player, man. He was a very solid player for us, not only as a receiver, but as a blocker as well. He was out there doing his thing, and in hope with some of those big plays that we had. Only had 400 yards on the season, but I feel like he had some big plays, right? His longest reception being 64 yards, And he was a great player, so someone else is gonna have to step up in his absence. Same with Omar Manning too, of course. Omar Manning with a little bit over 1,000 receiving yards, averaging 23 reception, 11 TDs this past year. Man, I can't say enough about the guy. He was a great player for us. Here are some of the other players that are just graduating, not going to for the draft or anything. Going through some of these names here. That's all we have, just this little list right here. So shout out to all these players for their contributions throughout our national championship run. Like I said, all of them are going to be missed on the team except for these two because they're staying. But I mean, yeah, our mentality is just next man up. We got recruits coming in, we got some of the younger players ready to go, and I think we'll be good regardless. Welcome to the off-season recruiting aspect of these things. Looking at the recruiting class rankings right now, we are currently sitting at number 5. So that is a huge jump from where we have been in recent years. Honestly, I don't remember the last time we were top 10 in terms of recruiting classes. And we still have, we have a lot of points to spare to get more recruits. So let's go ahead and take a look at who we got right now committed. So we do have one 5-star that's recruited and committed. He is a athlete. He's 5'10", 207. I need to go look at his physicals again and his skills. He's probably looking like a running back of some sort, or perhaps like a DB. We also got a lot of 4-stars who are looking to fill the positions that we needed, some of the positions that we lost throughout the offseason, and overall just new players to come in and just increase our overall talent in that regard. So I really like what I see right now from these recruits. And we can go ahead and go into some of the detail about some of the recruits that stood out to me. And in terms of, the other rankings, we got Notre Dame, Oklahoma, Florida, Penn State. Now this one's really interesting, right? Because James Franklin is the one that recruited most of these kids. And now, of course, I'm only showing Penn State because Chenander was hired as our new head coach. So he's inheriting a pretty decent recruiting class, man. So it's up to him to put these guys to work and get them right to play some football out there. So here we are at signing day. We were able to get 2 new recruits throughout that recruiting process before signing day. So now, when it's all said and done, Notre Dame's got the first overall signing class, and we have number 2. So that's really good to see. We moved up a couple spots. We got 18 total recruits coming in. So that is really awesome. I think that's going to do wonders for our program in the future. Just kind of going throughout the rest of the top 10, of course, you got Bama, Oklahoma, Florida, USC. I mean, these guys are always going to be up there. But this one is a surprise to me. Rutgers has the number 7th ranked recruiting class. They have a good number of 4-stars coming in. So remember this. Remember this little recruiting class. These guys might be able to do a little something in the future with Rutgers. So here are just some of the recruits that we got coming in. For some reason, it's not letting me look at their individual skills at this point in time. So I'm not able to show you what they're about. But I'm going to go ahead and just show you the names and the face. That way, you might recognize them on the field. Some of them might get playing time in their freshman year. Probably just more like the wide receivers if I had to guess right now. So we got James Olsen, wide receiver coming in from Indiana. We got a 4-star running back, Brandon Keller, coming in. We got Michael Jackson coming in. Michael Jackson's the 5-star that we got. So the only 5-star that we got is Michael Jackson. So that name is definitely going to stand out. And he's a 5-star. So he has a very high promise and potential for us. So you'll definitely want to remember that name. And with a name like Michael Jackson, I mean, that's hard to forget. We got Nate Kelly coming in, a 4-star athlete. We're going to go ahead and look at his skills throughout the offseason and see where his skill set might fit best for us. Same with DeMarcus Mason. He is a JUCO prospect, 78 overall, which isn't terrible. So he might be able to be out there for us. Another athlete, Lester Garcia from Virginia. We're going to go ahead and look at what his skill set is, like I said earlier, figure out his best fit. Some more wide receivers. We get an 80 overall defensive end, a 4-star from Iowa coming in for us. And, of course, we had to beef up the linemen. We got a couple tackles and a guard, defensive tackle, and Sean Young. Another DB for us, Stan Pratt, 4-star athlete that we'll look to incorporate with the various positions. And then we got Sam Woods, who's a wide receiver. So, overall, looking at this recruiting class, I'm very satisfied with what we're able to do. And, man, I think we're only going to get better, honestly. We are with the conference alignment. If you guys remember from the previous episode, I believe, episode 7 maybe, where Texas, they didn't have a conference championship because there wasn't enough teams to have 2 divisions, as you can see. So I went ahead and fixed that. I threw in Houston and UCF into the Big 12. I feel like they'd be good fits, and there's like the whole rumors of like Texas and Oklahoma going to the SEC, and then some of the American Conference members are coming to the Big 12. It's not even official how that's going to be realigned and whatnot. So just for the sake of simplicity, I'm not going to put those 2 in the SEC and bring everyone else in or whatever. I'm just going to put in UCF and Houston in here, and that way they can have a conference championship. Most likely it would be like Texas against Oklahoma, which would be a good matchup again in the not only in their annual like rivalry game, but also like in the Big 12 championship as a potential rematch. So that's good to see. But other than that, all the conferences are the same, obviously except for the American, who are just down a couple members, but it should always still be Cincinnati winning that, in my opinion. Alright, so we went ahead and changed some positions out there for some of the players. So mostly in regard to the freshman athlete recruits that came in, just looking to see where their skill set fits best. So Stan Pratt, for example, the freshman coming in, his skill set looked more like a quarterback, so I threw him in there. So he'll be able to get some good playing time. So he'll be around 3rd on the depth chart, depending on how good or how much better Heinrich gets over the offseason. Because we still have to look at player progression. Otherwise, running backs, we got DeMarcus Mason, the JUCO product. He'll be in that running back room. Definitely more of a 3rd string type of guy. So he'll get like a few touches throughout the season, especially depending on potential injuries from Ramir and Yant. In terms of the wide receiver group, we are pretty damn young, man. Look at all the sophomores and freshmen we got down there. Michael Jackson's going to be a day 1 starter, so that's really cool to see. And even some of these guys might be day 1 starters as well, depending on, of course, offseason progression for some of these guys down here. Matt Bradley, one of the DNs that we recruited, he's going to be a day 1 starter. So, I mean, he's going to get a lot of experience throughout his first few years, and he's definitely going to be a beast by the time he's a junior and a senior. So definitely look out for this guy. So this is what I was really looking forward to, seeing the offseason progression throughout training over the summer and whatnot. So here's how we're looking now. So starting off with the quarterback room, Jack Miller's up to an 87. Logan's still at an 85, or went up to an 85. But I'm definitely still going to start Logan over Jack, just because of just the way that we play now. I think the speed aspect is insane. I mean, Logan's speed is now a 92. Agility and acceleration's at a 98. Like that is absolutely ridiculous for a quarterback. As you guys know, Jack Miller definitely needed to work on the accuracy. He did a little bit, but I mean, I think Logan is still the guy. His arm is definitely not as good as Jack's, but I think performance-wise, he was doing a lot better throughout the season. Even Heinrich Harburg got he went up 5 over the offseason. That's really good. And then Richard Torres as well, he went up 6 over the offseason. Ramir Johnson, going up to an 89. That's up 5 for him. Yant went up 6 to an 86 overall. And some of the younger guys as well are getting better, so that's really cool to see, man. They're out there putting in the work of the offseason. The Heisman winner, Xavier Betts, is only going up 4. I thought he would go up a little bit more than that, but still, I mean, his stats look pretty ridiculous. The speed, the agility, the acceleration is absolutely insane. One of the fastest players in college football, by far. I'm sure his catching got better too. Yep, his catching got better, so that's good because he did have a few passes that he dropped throughout the season. Alante Brown was also getting better. Will Nixon's going to get a lot more playing time this year. And some of these other younger guys as well are putting in work in the offseason, trying to earn some playing time. Fedoni went up 4 to an 87 overall, so you'd love to see that. He had a pretty decent season. Looking at his stats from last year, just because I'm curious, he almost got up to 1,000 receiving yards, had 9 TDs. So, and then of course, shout out to the offensive linemen. They're getting better. Consistent 90s across the board so far, and Cam Jurgens is up to a 97 at this point. So yeah, we needed that out there for sure. Yeah, I mean we're scratching 90s except for these guys. Yeah, we'll just move on from that. Ty Robinson's up to a 90 overall, and he's only a junior, so by the time he's a senior, it's going to be even better than that. Casey Rogers as well is up to an 88. Garrett Nelson, who we were able to convince to stay for his senior year, is now up to a 94 overall. So look to him to have a great season. And then our defensive backs are looking really nice. Quentin Newsom's up to a 94. Tyreek Johnson's up to an 89. And then some of these other guys are getting better as well, all going up at least 5. Noah Pola-Gates is up to an 89 overall for his junior season. And Miles Farmer's up to a 90 for his junior season as well. And then our kicker, unfortunately, we weren't able to get any kickers in that recruiting class, which is all right. We got another year to find someone, but our transfer portal kicker is now up to an 88 overall. So that's wonderful to see. Overall, we're looking pretty damn good as a team. I mean, you look at all these near 90s that we have, and I mean, we're looking dangerous out there, you know? We're looking to hopefully get into a position to where we can repeat as national champions. Alright, y'all, so this is going to be the schedule for this year. I'm going to go ahead and post a screenshot of our 2023 schedule officially, I guess, as of right now. But man, that, you know how you can only do so much with some of these games that are locked, you can't change them. Our conference schedule is looking really easy, like not overlooking these teams or anything, but I want to give myself more of a challenge, right? So instead of playing teams like Louisiana Tech and North Illinois, I wanted to give myself more of a challenge. So of course I still want to play Colorado, you know, classic rivalry game right there. But I want to test myself against Utah. You know, they're a pretty good team, and they probably got better too. I mean, right now they're preseason ranked number 10, so that'll be a good matchup for us. And then I'll probably have us play Notre Dame, which I think could be another good matchup for us. And those will be our two main games, like out of conference, along with Colorado. So that'll give us an A- strength of schedule. Like I said, I really want to test myself and challenge myself this season. And yeah, I feel like that'll just bring out the best of the team, and you know, we'll just live with the result as long as we do our best. And we are here in the preseason polls. Right now, they got us at number 8, which is cool. Overall wise, we're looking at a 93 overall, 91 overall offense, and then a 95 overall defense, which is really good. Our defense is definitely going to be our strong suit once again, and it's up to me to get the offense up to par. Bama's number 1. No surprise there. Iowa State. That's a kind of a shocker there at number 2. We'll see if they can live up to it, I guess. Oklahoma and Texas, the Big 12 Titans are down there. We got Ohio State, Georgia, Michigan State. Of course, we took them down in the Big 10 championship. USC is up there, Utah, who we got in a few weeks to play. And some of the other teams from last year that we saw that were pretty good are still going to be up there in the top 25. Arizona State's up there, number 18. That's good to see. Arkansas is number 21. Shout out to Arkansas. And I mean, yeah, pretty decent, reasonable top 25. Some of the teams that are almost in the top 25, you got teams like Texas A&M, Coastal Carolina, who had a really good season last year, but overall wise, if you can see, they're not looking too hot right now. You got teams like Miami, Virginia Tech. Let's see, anyone else noteworthy the further we go. Penn State, keep an eye on them. Which named her their head coach now. And before we get out of here for today's episode, we're just going to go over the depth chart really quick. That way you guys have a visual of who's going to be out there on the field for us for the majority of the season. Starting off at quarterback, of course, the homie Logan Smothers is out there. He'll be running the show at quarterback once again. Running back, we got the usuals as last year, Ramir Johnson and Yent. Then at wide receiver, the starters are going to be Will Nixon, Alante Brown, Xavier Betts, Michael Jackson, the wide receiver recruit, the 5-star. And Fedoni will also be out there along with Grant Page, who is a redshirt freshman. Just like I did last year, I put Xavier Betts at the number 3 option. That way he'd be in the slot for when we run the wide receiver option plays. So the 2 ones on the outside are going to be Will Nixon and Alante Brown. I think they'll give us the best chances of kind of fulfilling the role that Omar Manning had for us last year, as well as Oliver Martin. And then Michael Jackson as a freshman will definitely be out there, just making plays throughout the middle, typically, maybe some out routes here and there. But he'll definitely get some touches, no doubt about it. At tight end, we got Fedoni per usual. He's definitely just solidified in there for the next few years for us. And here are the linemen for us. Overall wise, we're looking good over there. I'm not too worried about that with the whole blocking schemes and whatnot. And then defensively, we're looking good. The off-season training definitely helped out. There's the freshman for us starting at right end, so that's cool. And defensive tackle, we're good. The linebackers situation is looking really good. We have a lot of really good players that can make plays for us. Obviously, we're not playing on defense, so we're not going to see how well they do. But I bet, simulation-wise, it'll be very similar to how it was last year, to where, we don't really give up a whole lot of points, and they're able to get stops that give us good field position, and that way, we can just keep on scoring. So, yeah, defensively, we look really good, and we're definitely going to have to get some kickers and punters during recruiting throughout this season. So, yeah, that'll bring an end to episode 9 of this Offensive Coordinator Dynasty. Next episode, man, we got Colorado on the road at Colorado. Looking to take them down in a nice game. That'll definitely be chippy out there on the field. And then we travel to Utah right after that to take on currently the number 10, but it might go up and down depending on how well they do, I guess. Looking forward to seeing this year's version of the team out there. Like I said in the last episode, the standard has been set with going undefeated last year. Hopefully we can accomplish the same. Just got to continue to bet on ourselves and put ourselves out there and give ourselves the best chance to win. But yeah, enough talking for today. This episode wasn't the most exciting, just kind of showing you guys the off-season logistics and whatnot. So the gameplay will come soon. Until then, take care, and we'll see y'all then. Peace.